Late summer, weather starts to cool down, things starts to change a little bit. What should people be doing differently when it comes to mowing their lawn in the late summer?
So if you made a change to the height for the hot part, if we had a really hot part of like the midsummer, late summer, the temperatures might start to drop a bit. You can go back to your regular height of mowing. If you've been mowing at like 2.75, or even if your lawn takes the 2.5 really well, if you got a thick lawn, you can go back to that. One of the biggest mistakes I see people doing with that is they were watering the lawn a lot in the hot part of the season. Then they kind of back off on the watering. Like the lawn still needs water, right? So you should never back off the watering just because it got a little bit cooler. Some people do that and then it stresses the lawn. The main thing you see, a common theme here we have with all this, is consistency.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the gym.
Yeah, think about your body. You don't you maybe want to have a little bit leaner in the summer and bulk up in the winter time, but generally you're dieting, you're working out, you're being consistent. You're just adjusting things slightly, but you're never just letting anything go, right? Some people will just be like, oh, hot part of the summer is over, turning off the sprinkler systems, I'm going to save some water. You can do that, but your lawn's definitely going to feel it.
And there's no drastic changes. It's like you said, little tweaks here or there. Consistency is the major workhorse. And then you're just adjusting as it gets cooler, earlier in the season, hotter.
Yeah. Okay. You want to avoid being reactive, right? You want to be proactive instead of reactive, right? It's just like your health, just like your own health. The best way to approach health is to be proactive about it, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing's wrong with my body, but I'm going to go get a blood test once a year just to make sure nothing's going to be wrong with it. Same thing with your soil test, right? Keep watering the lawn. Even though it's cool out, the lawn still needs water, right? It still needs to be cut, still needs to be maintained.
And that, it's great information. And that soil test, do I just do that at the beginning of the year? Should I check in halfway through the year?
You can check in if you have a deficiency and you're looking to correct it, then yeah, you want to adjust. You want to check every 30 days, right? Your lawn cycle has about a 25 to 30 day cycle. That's why we do most lawn care programs. The applications are spread out anywhere between 20 and 30 days.
Okay, so I tested at the beginning of the year to set off the year, and now I'm picking seed and all that kind of stuff. Any other minerals, nutrients that I may be deficient in. But if things are going well, I don't really need to check in again. That couple times in a 30-day period is only if we're noticing a deficiency.
If you're noticing deficiency and there's like something you really need to correct and you want this optimal level, it's always good to check it again. The soil test kit will come with multiple uses too. It's not just a one-time thing. And then, but also, if you're keeping an eye on your lawn, you're liking the way it looks and you notice no issues, it's okay to just do one once a year.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay. So we've talked about this a few times before, but I think it's important to talk about watering in the late summer when it starts cooling off. So why does your lawn still need water even when it's cooling off outside? How often do we water? What are your suggestions?
So the lawn still needs water because that's the main, thing it needs for growth, right?
Right.
So no matter what, you have to water the lawn. Keep it with the like I said before, you want it infrequently, but deep.
Deep.
Right?
Yeah.
When it's cooler, you're going to keep a lot of that water in the lawn. But if you're watering it every day, now you have the opposite problem. The water is not evaporating. It's just sitting on there. You might get some pooling, right? You don't want the grass to be sitting in water, is basically what it is.
So that tuna can, again, as I go throughout the seasons, I use that tuna can anytime I want to check in. And depending on the season, depending on the temperature, in some cases it'll evaporate faster because of the heat. In other cases, it will evaporate slower or not at all. But that's my test. And that determines to me how much I need to water per week.
Yeah. And the thing is, really, if you've been getting your lawn with 25 millimeters of water all summer, that consistency will do you just fine. Beautiful. It's typically when you haven't been watering enough and now you want to correct it. Now you're measuring and maybe you got to overcompensate a little bit. If you start out with these rules, you will never have to put more than 25 milliliters on your lawn, whether it's hot or cold.
Yeah. These first principles, right? Like it almost seems like everything in life. It's like, let's start the program right to avoid these things. And then you're just talking about maintenance.
Exactly. And the biggest thing is sticking with the plan, right? That's the biggest thing, is sticking with the plan. Beautiful. Like some people tell me all the time, oh, I don't mow the lawn anymore because it's all just weeds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you still got to cut those down, right? So,
okay. So if someone has thin or bare patches in their yard, we're still talking late summer here. What's the right way to overseed and help it bounce back?
so the best way to do it is typically that damage is going to come from, over mowing, cutting the grass too short, letting those areas get too hard, not fixing them. It could be from one of the pests that have maybe been causing some damage. So if you're noticing, this is the good time to start looking at those things, see how you're going to repair them. Best way to do a patch in your lawn is, number one, find out what the problem was. If it's a grub, if it's a chinch bug or a solid webworm or something causing the damage, you want to fix that first, because anything you put down there is just going to get ruined again. Maybe it's a spot from the dog, right? So find out what it is first, what caused it. Hopefully you noticed it kind of happening slowly. And then the best way to fix it, once the problem is solved, the only thing you can really do is add some soil, add some seed. You could re-sod the area. That's a little bit more intensive. But either way, you want to address it. I often hear this phrase when I ask, well, what happened with this spot here, this problem area of your lawn? When did you notice it? And I always hear people say something like, well, I thought it might just come back on its own. That's common knowledge with like lawn problems. Oh, I thought it'll come back on its own, right? And I always say, why would it come back on its own?
Yeah.
Like you have to do something, right? Something's going on here. It won't just come back on its own. If the grass has been eaten, like new seed won't appear. Grass does flower and drop seed, but that's when you let it grow to 3 feet long, right?
Right. Okay.
So
I didn't know that.
It won't fix itself. You have to do something. There has to be an intervention put in place.
So like anything else, find the core issue. We have AI these days, so we can get answers very quickly.
Yep.
We have people like yourself, make a phone call, buy a program, but address the core issue or find the core issue and address it.
Yeah. And I tell people, honestly, people will call us with a small problem like that. And I will tell them, do you want me to tell you how you can do this? Yeah. I'll say this is something you can fix on your own. And then let us know if you need help after, if it's not working for you. But try this first. It could just be a simple fix, right? And most people are pretty surprised when they hear that.
I hope some business owners heard that, because that's the way we run our business. And that's the way I'd love for all business to be run. And ultimately, some business owners are going to hear that and be like, no, I'll come over there. We'll give you a quote. And there's no trust built in that approach.
No.
In your approach, it's like, he's the guy.
Yeah.
He's willing to help, and it's not about every buck. So I'm really happy you do that. Fertilizing. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but let's get into detail. Late summer. Do we do it? How do we do it? What's the program?
We do it, but again, you want to have a lower nitrogen content so you don't harm the lawn, and a slow release nitrogen.
Okay.
Yeah, slow release nitrogen. It'll release nitrogen slowly over that cycle of your lawn, so 3 to 4 weeks. That way, you're not hammering the lawn with all that nitrogen right away, right? That's so fertilizer.
Okay, so slow release, lower nitrogen. In the summer, it was lower nitrogen content because it was very hot and could go dormant. In the late summer, we still got some heat for sure. Is that the idea behind it, or why?
Yeah, you're kind of looking at like a mid-range fertilizer. The main thing is you're going to go back up on your nitrogen, but you want a slow release.
Okay.
Yeah, so typically that's a fertilizer that would have some sulfur built into it, and that's good for. What that does is nitrogen makes the lawn grow and green up. When you add a bit of sulfur to it, you get the green up without the excessive top growth.
So it just slows the growth, but it's nice and green. It becomes healthy.
Still giving nutrients to the grass. Yeah.
Okay. And then herbicides. These are things that I know almost nothing about, so I would need an explanation of what it is. In late summer, is there a better approach at this point to the season? Why are we using them? If we're not, let's talk about herbicides in the late summer.
So herbicides you want to do. So if you have been fixing areas of your lawn, doing a lot of seeding, you don't want to, typically our weed control is we coat the whole lawn with an iron-based herbicide. It's really the only one you're allowed to use in Ontario for cosmetic reasons. It's a product called Fiesta, and it just has about 5% iron in it, and that's a contact herbicide. So it selects broadleaf weeds like dandelions, doesn't affect grass, and then it just kills them on contact.
Okay, so that's
it. So what we typically do is we'll coat the whole lawn for weed control, but if you're doing heavy seeding, fixing bare patches, things like that, spraying iron on the seed before it's germinated can hinder that. So what we recommend then is if we're going to do lawn repairs, we do spot treatments for weeds. So instead of coating your whole lawn, if you've been doing your lawn care, your lawn at this point shouldn't be riddled with weeds where you have to continue coating it. You can if you haven't put any seed down, but you want to go around now and just spot treat those individual weeds so you don't affect and disturb the new seed growth.
Okay. Okay, so herbicide really to just get rid of the bad, and your two options are you coat the whole lawn. In many cases, you do that. In other cases, with seed, things like that, you spot treat.
That's right.
Okay, and what was the thing that we used to use for like weed killer? It was just really dense in chemicals, and now that's illegal, and you can't buy it anymore.
Golf courses have an exemption for it.
Right.
They can use it. That's why they have such good greens on the golf courses.
Yeah. But we can't, homeowners.
No, now the stuff we use, does it work as good as that? No, but you can affect we're in charge of the concentration we use, right? So we can put a little bit of a stronger formula in place if you have really bad weeds, really mature weeds, right? Weeds that have been around for years. They're going to be stronger and more resistant. Every couple of years, so weeds will actually, they're organisms, they develop resistance to our herbicides, just like it's like antibiotics, right? Bacteria and viruses develop resistance to our antibiotics, so we have to constantly reformulate them, switch formulas, switch concentrations, even switch methods. Like a contact herbicide may stop working, so now you got to get something that targets the root system, which would affect when you apply it, right?
Okay, so I'm putting this let's say I try to do this on my own. I'm going to tackle this because I saw this, I learned some things, and I use the contact herbicide. It's got that iron in there to kill the weeds. It's not doing anything. Do I then go to the root variant of that? Is that easily purchased, or?
The root variant is a pre-emergent that we're very restricted to what we can use here. The root variant, not even really a root variant. I would call it's a pre-emergent. What it does is it stops those weeds from germinating at all. And you want to put that stuff down either if you didn't get it down in the spring, you do it in the fall or early in the spring, but you got to watch out because it also stops grass seeds from germinating too.
Perfect.
So what we do is we're aerating in the spring. Our first applications we do on lawns is a pre-emergent. We'll aerate, 40 days later to make sure that's all gone and worked in before we apply the seed.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm digging it.